Okay. So, can mark that one off the list, and as I was saying, the, finding the Normandy crash site is a good one, especially for early on in the game when you're not very leveled up, and so you're just looking for experience any and everywhere that you can get it, so that you can hopefully sneak in one more level before you go to your next big mission. In case you're having some trouble with it, you get a few more skill points to work with. So that's one of the reasons why doing it early, and in addition to picking up some additional Element Zero as well.
You've received a new message at your private terminal.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Things are quiet again from the Omega Clinic desk. Commander, I wanted to thank you again for saving me from those Batarians. Thought I'd seen the worst of people's anger and that fear at Dr. Solis' clinic. I had no idea how much anger his work was keeping in check, how bad it really was. If not for you, I'd be dead. Thank you. The clinic is doing well. We got rid of most of the plague, and I've been able to handle the rest without too much trouble. The Blue Suns keep offering to take over security here. I keep the mechs powered on. I won't make the same mistake twice. Thanks, Daniel. So again, that is Morden's assistant, who is now taking over the medical clinic. It sounds like he's doing pretty well there, so that's good to hear. Then we have a message about, well, the Normandy crash site data being received. So from Admiral Hackett, that's a name we remember from Mass Effect 1. Basically, guy who was giving us the vast majority of our missions back in Mass Effect 1. Basically the head honcho of the Alliance. The Alliance was grateful to receive the information you found at the Normandy's crash site, and we've sent it out to the affected families. By finding those dog tags, you've provided peace of mind for a lot of people, Commander. I thank you on their behalf. So, there you have it. With the message from Hackett, who is grateful for us having helped out with all that stuff on that previous mission. So that's good. I was thinking, after having gotten a little bit of EZO on that planet, and more importantly, doing a somewhat reasonable amount of scanning of some decent resource planets, might be worth taking a look here and seeing what, if anything, we can now afford to upgrade. Like, assault rifle damage, I think that was one we were saying before that we weren't a huge fan of. We can't do this until we get another shotgun damage upgrade, but we do have the platinum to do it, if we would like. Well, once we do get that option. Let's see, ship enhancements. Can't afford that at the moment. Wow, this costs a ton of platinum for this. Immediately completely heal your scars. Oh, the one for healing our scars. Okay, this is the one where it's purely aesthetic, so I don't think we're going to do this, and it is surprisingly expensive to do that. So, no, rather save our resources rather than spend them on that stuff. Prototypes, though, for the armors, and I think the missile launcher and Morden Omni Tool may be the ones that are most intriguing to us. We did pick up a lot of Element Zero, so that Morden Omni Tool might not be a bad idea. Oh, I'd like to get bits too. Oh, but it does require one more heavy skin weave upgrade before we can actually unlock it. Taking 50% less damage from melee attacks, I mean, it's not that often that we get hit by melee attacks, but if we're getting rushed down by, say, a Krogan, then that'd be really nice. To get 50% less damage is a whole lot. A whole lot. Then this is one I would definitely like to get. It's another heavy weapon, and so it requires one more heavy weapons ammo upgrade to unlock, and I think we did see that somewhere, right? Or maybe that was one of the ones we did already purchase. But the effectiveness and efficiency of Mass Effect-based weapon technology has rendered large-scale deployment of highly explosive weaponry all but obsolete in infantry weapons. Normandy's scientists have prototyped a modified version of traditional high-explosive rounds that is applied to a 25-gram slug. When accelerated to 5 kilometers per second, the round is devastating. Though a technically inaccurate label, this prototype weapon is nicknamed the Nuke Launcher, and its high explosive matrix generates an archetypical mushroom cloud on impact, as if it is doing just that. Inflicts high damage with a large area of effect, very effective against armor, shields, and barriers. I believe this is the single highest damage weapon in the game. It has very limited ammo, but it can also, I believe, completely ignore cover. So it's kind of, it's a high risk, well, it's high risk, high reward, the right term for it. It's just extremely high variance in terms of how effective it is. it is also just, like 1 millimeter to the side, and it could deal a fraction of the damage it would deal if you put it slightly to the other side. And, it's just really finicky in that way, and that, you could absolutely annihilate your opponent depending on where exactly you aim it, or you could deal significantly less damage depending on where you aim it. And a lot of that stuff is hard to get exactly because it's just kind of imprecise in that sense, but at least in theory, at its best, I think it is the highest damage weapon in the game by potentially a very, very large margin. So that one I'm interested in picking up, but we don't have the iridium to do it yet, and it also requires more of those heavy weapon ammo upgrades. So I'm reluctant to move forward on any of these armors at this stage, just because I want to see if we compare that stuff to the armor that we purchased back on Omega, to see if it is actually preferable to that, because it may not be. It may not be. Speaking of which, let's take a quick pit stop up at our captain's cabin, because that is where we can check that stuff out. At our armor locker. So, did we actually get a new N7 helmet here from that mission? I don't recall as whether it's that or it might be sort of a trophy we can keep elsewhere. Let's see, so we have a new chest plate. What is the, Thought we purchased it, or were we just looking at it on Omega and didn't actually pull the trigger? Metaphorically speaking? I don't recall. There it is. So that's the helmet that we recovered. So yeah, it is basically a trophy that we keep in our cabin here. And I think that's it in terms of what we'd like here. So yeah, it may have been either that we didn't upgrade them and I just thought that we purchased those upgrades in Omega, but I may be misremembering. Or it may be that we technically were only purchasing access to that research and we still need to invest the credits or resources in actually completing that research to turn it into a real upgrade, although I didn't think that was the case. That would basically mean we're paying for it twice. I don't know. I don't recall. So, anyways, that was one of our side missions here. We do have other relatively minor things here, primarily for picking up stuff for our Normandy squad mates, or crewmates really, or just random people on the ship. That we just did, the Normandy crash site, technically, I believe, is a DLC, or at least was DLC in the original Mass Effect 2 game, but again, has been rolled into Mass Effect Legendary Edition, as has Overlord and Firewalker, which are things that probably would prefer to save until a little bit later. Let's head back over here. And at this stage, I think we have, explored 100% of this galaxy, or rather, I can't say galaxy, this solar system. But remember that when it comes to fuel, as soon as we head out of this system, we're going to start spending it. And we didn't load up fully when we came here, so that may mean we want to be mindful of that. I think we may need to head back to the Sarabarak system to reload on our fuel if we want to do any further exploration. It's also where the mass relay is, so if we want to travel any further, then we're going to need to go there for that reason as well. It's like at this stage, we have less than half of our fuel in place, so I think we probably should load up on that. Like, what were we at when we were moving from Sarabarak to Amada? I want to say we're at like maybe a little over 600. That's something that we're definitely going to start to get a better feel for once we start to do more exploration here. So let's see, we're at 394. We can test it now. Heading back there, I mean, you can see already, we use a sizable chunk. So let's load up on the fuel, and as we were saying previously, fortunately, it's not that expensive. Basically, we're buying it in chunks of, 25? basically 25 fuel for 25 credits, so it's a 1-for-1 ratio. So that's not bad. That means, you know, I think more or less all the time we're going to want to be at 100%, 1,000 out of 1,000 on our fuel. Like, this would be a slight over-restoration, but we're fine. So we could also buy some probes. Not sure how expensive those are. Not that expensive. Okay. Those also, I believe, come in... Oh, packs of 10, is it? Packs of 10. For a second, I thought those were also packs of 5, and so that does mean if you're only getting, you know, a fraction of the total amount, so again, you buy them in packs of 10, so, you know, ideally you'd go down to, you know, exactly 10, or 0, 10, or 20, and then buy them in packs of 10 to get back up to a perfect 30 out of 30. But if you were on 24, like we were there, or any number in between 21 and 30, then you'd still pay the full price, and you only get, you know, whatever fraction of the what would normally be 10 probes. You know, you can't go over 30 in this case, so a little unfortunate in that sense, but, you know, not a huge sacrifice. I think we still got 6 out of there. So why don't we look around a little bit more here, see if we can find other missions of interest, or just planets in general. So let's see. Ooh, we have several systems over to the right here, some of which are kind of far away. Let's go for the most distant one here first, I'd say. Of course, we're at 1,000. And it took us about 200 to get here. So that should mean we can do this and whatever the other one in this area was as well. Let's see, so we've got unexplored. HSP is one planet. It's Utha. Punished with UV and gamma radiation from the Class F star it orbits, Utha is no one's first choice for a planet to land on. Covered in seawater, Utha has a hydrosphere and ozone layer similar to Earth's, but that simply isn't enough to ward off the life-killing radiation. Its nitrogen-rich, oxygen-poor atmosphere goes unchanged by the few proteins that have managed to form in the ocean depths. It does have at least the starts of life. Utha, however, has served as a way station for slaves escaping their Batarian masters. What little land it has is technically or tectonically stable, and its considerable radiation belt and electrical storms grant cover for many common types of sensors. Fleeing ships typically hide on Utha long enough to discharge their drive cores and stock up on deuterium before trying to make it to the cluster's mass relay. Alright, let's take a quick scan here. It is a rich planet. So I think for that reason, you know, it's a good thing that we did load back up on our probes here, because this could definitely be worth throwing a probe or two at. Curious to see what resources are most abundant here, of course, and the answer may very well be platinum. That is definitely the thing that we've gotten the most of in the past, although, remember, although this is tempting when you see two resources here, both iridium and platinum in this case, they relatively high bar, because it is really significant when it goes higher still. Bear in mind that, you know, it may still be preferable, so rather than, you know, sacrificing a little bit and getting 2 resources at the same time, or getting a decent sum of 2 resources at the same time, might be better to deliberately just go for 1 resource and get the bar as high as possible, again, because of that logarithmic scale where just getting those go a little bit higher up is a big difference. This is actually not that high, platinum, to tell you the truth. I think we have seen better. That looks better. Missed the best spot. Oh. That looks really good for palladium, actually. I'm gonna go here, and it's pretty solid for platinum. Let's take your pick. Which one do you want? I think we've gotten a decent chunk of platinum. Might prefer the palladium here. Palladium. I'm trying to make sure that we're... Again, the positioning doesn't have to be perfect, but to the extent possible, you know, if there is a spot like this, that's what we're looking for. So that's breaking the scale. So that's what we want. That's what we're looking for here.
Probe launched. In research projects, palladium is used to upgrade heavy pistols, armor, and cybernetics.
That was worth about 2,000 palladium there. So that's that's pretty nice. And it does still say rich, so in theory, may still be another nice source here somewhere, and this could be it. That looks like a pretty solid source of platinum if we just get this at its peak. Looks like it is... where exactly? Here, probably? And that's, you know, a little bit of iridium and palladium as well. So I think we take this, and then it might no longer be rich planet after this, but let's go for it.
Launching probe.
I still say rich, wow. And sort of the double is nice, but you prefer to go getting just resources that are at their maximum possible height is really the priority. Because even if it looks like it's solid when you have two that are really high up like that, it may still be better if you can get one that breaks the scale. Although, despite it saying rich here, how high is this gonna go? How high is this gonna go? Get anything that is super amazing here? That does look super amazing. Again, we've been going pretty crazy on the platinum to the point where I'd say, you know, to a certain extent, we may just no longer need to focus on platinum, certainly at least after this. Because remember, obviously, we are getting a bunch of platinum from this, yes. However, we can also get platinum from... actually, double check here. Does it still say rich? No, now it says good. Yeah. So, remember that we can still get platinum and other resources, but in this case, platinum being the most relevant one because we keep on getting it from our scanning. We can also get that from the occasional mission. So, this is not the only way to make all that stuff happen, so we don't need to get all the platinum in the world right now. But, that's 100% explored. Looks like the system was quite small. We can also just, like, casually drive through the star, for what it's worth. Kids, don't try that at home. But then I'm thinking now we use, what, I think 200 out of our 1,000 fuel. So we should still be able to go to this Terra Vamora area over here, which was still far from the main section, but it's not too far from where we currently are. Okay, let's see. What can we find here? Got an unexplored planet. And it's Uwan Oche. Uwan Oche, Uwan Prime, is a stony planet encased with ice under a methane-heavy sky. Named for the Uwan Consortium, the Batarian manufacturing firm that financed its exploration, Uwan Oche's crust provides much of the boron allotropes used in Omnigel throughout the Terminus systems. The area has naturally become a haven for pirates who attempt to steal the refined gel or its ingredients as soon as the cargo ships leave the atmosphere. Okay, let's take a quick look. Scanning-wise, it is another rich planet. We are just loading up on those. Again, just want to get a sense for what type of resource are we talking about here, because if it is platinum, then we probably are not interested. We can find a really nice source of something else, which it looks like we may potentially be able to find. Then that starts to get our attention a little bit more. Iridium, palladium, like this. This is what we want. This guy. No, we got the platinum going here, but that's not what we care about most. Just looking for something that breaks the scale. That's all I ask for, really. Can you just break the scale for us? Hold on, now we're talking. Now we're talking with our palladium here. Wait, no, I just got confirmation of what it sounds like, and I already forget. I know if we go a little bit further this way, then we can start to get iridium as well, but it looks like we're trying to really maximize palladium. And this is probably the place to do it, and it means we're probably cutting ourselves a little bit short on the iridium, but so be it.
Probe away.
Nice. Does still say rich. So in theory, may still have something here capable of breaking the scale. My guess is it's probably primarily this. It is platinum. Not the biggest of fans of here. It's also iridium.
Probe launched.
Now, and it does say specifically which pieces of research we can now complete. Now it says good, so that means that in theory, we've done most of what there is to do here. But yeah, we can start to get pretty picky, I think, at this point in terms of what we are looking to scan. I really think we should probably, tempting as it may be, right off the platinum at this stage. Let's see, we have Vatar, located within the life zone of a dimming orange sun. Vatar would be habitable, except for its carbon dioxide atmosphere and an icy surface that kills most oxygen-producing bacteria. Nonetheless, mercenary companies and slavers have numerous strongholds on the planet, out of reach of any galactic authority. Travel advisory. A statistically significant number of distress signals have originated within a 1 million kilometer mark of Vatar. Civilian travel is not advised. Okay. Another rich planet. I was under the impression, I had thought the rich planets were a little more hard to come by than this, but perhaps I was misremembering, and so I was jumping on those opportunities. I was like, okay, well, rich planet, let's take it. Let's go for it. But, you know, maybe not as hard to find as I had previously thought, given on just how many of them are running into here. Again, I think, you know, we see things like this where there's, is that high enough to warrant going for it? Obviously, it's iridium and palladium, which is nice, but I thought we saw, like, this, where was it? This guy might have been going a little bit higher up. Might have still been preferable. That is, I mean, if we wanted to get really technical, like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, kind of, sort of, 8 for that, versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah? No, this is better. This is definitely better. Okay, let's take this.
Probe away.
Those are resources that we do care more about.
Iridium is used to upgrade heavy weapons, submachine guns, and assault rifles.
Heavy weapons, submachine guns, and assault rifles for iridium. And it seems like that may be the best resource for us here, and that is something that we've not done much find with our previous scans. Palladium. I see you. Kind of, sort of. No. Oh. How high up are you gonna go, though? High enough to warrant launching a probe here? Perhaps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's maybe not quite. It still looked like the iridium might have been the best way to go. What was that? Up here? This still looks the most convincing to me. Like so.
Probe launched.
Little bit of platinum to go along with that. Still says it's rich. That may be better. Maybe a better source than what we were just looking at previously. That looks pretty scale breaking to me. Let's see. This is we're at what, 21,300.
Launching probe.
And so it gave us basically 2,000. Yeah. It seems like that's pretty much what you're looking at when you get the really high ones, is 2,000. Is that... We got the double, is that worth it? Or is it better to just go all out iridium? Because it does seem like that's a pretty sweet source. Yeah, it is definitely going down in order to get platinum, and we don't really care about platinum, given how much of it we've gotten as of late. Yeah, let's see if this gives us another 2,000.
Probe away.
It actually might have given us more than that. That might have been more like 2,500, actually. Now it says moderate. So I think we went past good. We're all the way down to moderate now. So we took a lot with that last one, so... It's good stuff, though. We got a lot of resources now. So, of course, we've been doing a lot of scanning. But the hope there is that by being fairly aggressive with it early. We may not need to do as much of it later on. And again, there's been a surprising quantity of rich resources or rich planets when it comes to resources that I didn't think we were going to run into that many of them. So, I mean, it's a good thing, I suppose. Just didn't see it coming. Let's see. Then we have, lastly, Setor, a rocky planet with a crushing atmosphere. Setor has been scanned from orbit but largely left unexplored due to its sweltering conditions. Its atmosphere contains nitrogen, but also an unusually high percentage of ethane, which can coalesce in pockets near the surface. The alumina-heavy crust of the planet can reach glowing hot temperature during the daytime, reaching the ethane's auto-ignition temperature and creating pockets of flame across the landscape. Oh, for this reason, extravehicular activities are discouraged on Setor, and no company has been willing to invest in exploration. Yeah, you don't say. And what was I saying? All the rich planets. So, question here is again, which resource are you particularly rich in? Because we've done a ton of platinum, done a fair bit of iridium recently, but it does look like this might be an iridium palladium type situation. That looks like a nice source of the palladium. There. Let's nab that. Another reason why loading up on a bunch of probes when you do get the chance to do so. I did not keep a keen eye on exactly. I think that might have been like 1,500 there. It's not quite as good as what we've gotten from some of the other really rich sources, although we did get a little bit of iridium as well. I don't really care about your platinum. Sorry. I mean, yes, we will at some point probably still need to get more platinum. True. But for the most part, I think, you know, the platinum that we don't have right now, we can probably make up for that with the platinum that we'll end up getting from missions that we go on. So at least short term, probably have the platinum that we need. Posiblemente. Oh. It's good. Not quite scale breaking though. That's closer to it. I think that's more what we're looking for. Let's see, so 26,200.
Probe launched.
Yeah, again, really more like 1,500, so not quite as good a results as what we were seeing at times from the best resources elsewhere. Although, hold on, this is definitely scale breaking, but it's platinum again, so it's like, well, do we really care? I mean, maybe? The one we were looking at before, it might, oh, hold on. Hold on. That's probably high enough to be worth pursuing.
Probe away.
That's enough to get us beyond 30,000 for iridium as well, so I also didn't even notice this. It still say, now it says good, so I think we leave it as is in that case, and that's 100% explored now. For this system now, how much fuel did we have remaining? I know we spent... Hold on. Let's see. We go from this angle and potentially go straight to our refueling spot, or we can go further still to Fathar. We can go farther still to Fathar. I think it'd be close if we tried to do that. We might run out of fuel. I think if you run out of fuel, you get basically charged extra, and you may immediately get teleported back to the solar system that has the fueling station in it. I think that might be the result, if I remember correctly. So let's see. We can kind of start headed in that general direction, and then we can branch up if we think we have enough fuel to go to Fathar. If we don't, then we can go down back to the refueling station. I think we can do it. I think we can
Fuel reserves at 50%.
do it. Question mark. Okay, maybe this was a bad idea. I think we can do it. I think we can still do it. This is tiny. Wow. Okay, we have an unexplored place over here. It's Dorgal. Surface of Dorgal is an ethane-soaked mush. Planet hovers near the boiling point of the hydrocarbon and supports a diverse, if simple and slow-moving, carbon-based ecology. Whoa! Planet's gravity is strong enough to retain an atmosphere of molecular nitrogen and carbon monoxide, but the methane that dominated billions of years ago has long since been lost. Okay. It's, guess what? It's rich. We don't care about platinum, though. Platinum and iridium are the ones that we would probably like to exclude from our search. Talk about scale breaking, though. That's definitely the highest we've seen. But I think we make an exception. 30,600, out of curiosity. Where does this get us? An absolutely humongous, almost 5,000. So that's why it is particularly good when you get ridiculously high readings. Go for those. I mean, that was what, like 3 times higher than what we'd seen previously? This does seem like a really good planet, and I'm eyeing this palladium source as well.
Probe away.
Not bad. That might have been 3,500 as well. Okay, well, back to platinum. Still rich. Signs of particularly good stuffs. A little bit. Iridium there, but nothing too dramatic. Any scale-breaking platinum, otherwise we probably don't care. Not sure I'm seeing anything that really excites me other than, again, this ridiculous source of platinum, which... Alright, fine. Alright. You're really testing me, game. You're really testing me, but at this point we might actually have gotten to the point where we have quite literally all the platinum that we need from scanning, like, for the rest of the game. And we can rely exclusively on platinum from just, the missions that we go through. Of course, you know, that does somewhat depend on just how thorough are you with looting stuff. Because, I mean, we've seen sources of loot, those crates, in the missions that we've gone in that have several thousand of various resources. Usually not ESO, but, you know, in that case it's in hundreds, but still. So, you know, that's the equivalent of sending out a well-placed probe. You know, in some cases a very well-placed probe. So, you know, that is significant, and if you get all that, great. If you miss some of it, then of course that means that, by extension, you know, in order to still make all the upgrades that exist in the game that you'd like to make, then, you know, if you miss some resources in missions, then that means you're gonna want to scan more planets to get to that number. Let's see. Korar is a small, lifeless rock blessed with significant deposits of thorium used in radiation shielding and the manufacture of space frame alloys. A small population of miners eke out an existence on the surface, selling their ore at Lorek and praying that the intermittent raids by the Terminus pirate clans will pass their homestead by. There have been no children born on Korar since the infamous pirate raid of 2047, when every child on the planet was rounded up and taken as a slave. Any couple finding itself pregnant preemptively moves off-world. It does still have a population of 2,400, though. Okay, and it's just a good planet. No signs of special stuffs here. That is a surprisingly half-decent source of palladium, but we'll pass. We'll pass. Then that leaves us with last, but hopefully not least, this unexplored location. Oh, which has an anomaly, okay. Lorek. Lorek is an extremely rare example of a habitable world circling a red dwarf star. Originally an independent Asari colony named Asan, it was annexed by the Batarian hegemony in 1913, causing a minor galactic incident. Incident, you say? Despite several attempts, the local terminus warlords have never been able to take Lorak for themselves. Lorak is a low-density world composed of rock, light metals, and a water-based crust. What? A water-based? Like ice crust? It's tightly locked to Pathar, with a sunward hot pole and a shadowed cold pole. Water on the sunward side evaporates quickly, traveling over the islands of the habitable Terminator Zone in the form of massive, fast-moving thunderstorms, and finally settling as snow on the frozen dark side. There are fears that the buildup of ice caps mass on the far side may cause axial reorientation over the course of several million years, but Batarian officials dismiss the idea as an irresponsible theory disseminated by counter-hegemonist subversives. There is a colony, actually a sizable colony at that, of 4.7 million. Dalnor is the capital, and it sounds like initially it was Asari controlled, but now the Batarians have taken it over. So there was an anomaly here. Oh. Hold on.
Status of system operator is not known. General distress. Beacon auto process interrupted at parse point ACO 655321. Status of system operator is not known. General distress. Beacon
Okay, sounds like some kind of distress signal. Also a resource-rich area for what it's worth, but this is definitely top priority. The anomaly detected. Signal scans detect a transmitter matching Cerberus encryption. It's registered to an unknown deep cover operative. Cerberus operative life signs unconfirmed. Other transmissions that match known Eclipse-coded communications also detected. Okay, we haven't seen anything from Eclipse. Enter the Eclipse base on planet Lorark. Okay, we can read up on that in just a second. But maybe we'll talk more about Eclipse once we look at that mission in greater detail. And rich resources, though, so we'll at least take a quick look to see if it has scale-breaking platinum of all the resources, the one that I'm least interested in getting. If we have scale-breaking of anything else, then let's talk. It's not bad. Iridium. That is the one that we have second most of. So, you know, if you have, like, great source of palladium, then maybe we're talking, and I think we're talking. Here. Get this around here.
Probe away.
Yeah, what was that? Was that 1,500 there? And a little bit of iridium as well, actually. And this might have been the biggest source, was this platinum deposit over here, but just don't necessarily think we need it. I mean, I suppose you could make the case that even if we already have all the platinum that we need over the long haul of the campaign, once you factor in the platinum that we will eventually end up getting from doing other missions, it does mean we'll have more platinum early, and so we could be more aggressive with some of our upgrades than we might otherwise be. So, you know, maybe there's something to be said for that. You could potentially make a case for it for that reason, but still would greatly prefer. I mean, if we had element 0 of this quantity, that would be, of course, ridiculous. Love that. But it doesn't seem as though this planet has anything in the way of element 0. Oh, hold on. What is that? Source of iridium we saw for a second there. That, oh, hold on. Hold on. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. Throw one out for that.
Probe launched.
And let's see. Let's leave orbit for a second here. Let's read up on that mission that we just learned about. Because, check our journal here. We have N7 Lost Operative. A Lost Cerberus operative is believed to be held in an Eclipse base on planet Lorak, Pathar system, Omega Nebula. The operative may have sensitive data that, if lost to Eclipse, could cause irreparable damage to Cerberus. Enter the Eclipse base on planet Lorek, Pathar Omega's Nebula, and rescue the Cerberus operative. So, we have not really heard anything of Eclipse yet. Although, I suppose, let's just say, trying to keep the potential spoilers to a minimum, although I suppose this is not exactly a huge deal. Think of them as similar to the Blood Pack and Blue Suns that we've run into thus far. So, we could do this now, but I might actually prefer... I don't recall how difficult this is. I don't remember this mission specifically. I do remember, generally speaking, what the deal with Eclipse is, though. I'm wondering if maybe it could be useful to us. We waited a little bit and power up and or go back to recruiting some other squad mates before we take this one on. Fortunately, you know, it's not too far from the system, or the solar system that has the mass relay in it, so, you know, we can make our way back here if needed, and of course we now have the assignment listed, so we know where it is, and it tells us exactly how to get there. So, we could potentially go for that right now, but I think after doing our fair share of exploration there, it may be time for us to, and we did one relatively quick and minor side quest, might be time for us to try to track down another dossier for someone to help us out here. And what are ways in which we can make that happen? I'm thinking, like I said, I think Archangel, probably one we'd like to wait on a little bit, because I think of the ones we currently have here, we're looking at this probably being the hardest. So, probably going to wait a bit on that, talking about other quests we'd want to get a little more powerful before we start. The Master Thief is certainly something we could consider, as well as the Convict. The Master Thief is actually located on the Citadel. The Citadel, which is, of course, the hub of Citadel space and general hub of the entire Milky Way galaxy. So that might be interesting to try heading back over there. Why don't we give that a go?